How are y'all doing? My name is Chris, also known as Chrisxlifts, and welcome to my channel. Alrighty, so for those who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. So first and foremost, in case y'all couldn't tell, I make gym content. I grew up involved in a whole bunch of sports and all around physical activity growing up. But growing up, I mainly played soccer in middle school and high school. But near the end of high school, I hit a crazy growth spurt and naturally transitioned to basketball. I naturally fell in love with the game. I stuck with it throughout high school, and then I ended up playing 2 years of college basketball. So for a big chunk of my life, basketball was my entire life.
Parkin grabs the rebound. He's gonna push the offense and, oh my goodness! Chris Cambu.
For the three, and it's good.
Garcia plays over to Cambu, shooting for the three, and he sinks it, nothing but net.
So all I did all day, every day, it was fun. I'm not even gonna hold you. And then after 2 years of college basketball, I had to move on with my life, graduated, did get a nasty injury, but you know, we move. And then, yeah, now we're in the gym. Alrighty, so that's enough yapping for now. Let me just get straight to the point. So the month of June marks 1 year since I started taking content creation seriously, but I was mainly making content on Instagram and TikTok. So initially when I first started making content, it was nothing serious. You know, I was just posting some exercises, posting my sets, my workouts, nothing too serious. And then for men's mental health last June, I decided to become vulnerable and share my story on how I got into the gym. So I jumped into that with no expectation, not knowing what to expect, just sharing my story. And then from there, I realized how impactful my story was, because not only was it touching, but a lot of other men resonated and related to what I went through. And then from there, I got the brilliant idea of pushing content basically about real life issues that a lot of men and women go through but are not talked about. Very common issues, but not really talked about, essentially. Alrighty, my story. So growing up, I was very insecure in myself and uncomfortable with my skin. I was severely underweight, I had very fast metabolism, and of course I was involved in sports, meaning I was burning a whole lot more calories than I was eating, and yeah, I was very underweight. So of course, naturally I became self-conscious of my body, and that really affected how I viewed myself and how I was interacting with others. Because I had this vision of myself that I was so uncomfortable with that I was thinking that other people would see that version of me in their eyes. But of course that wasn't true, but I didn't know that at that time. So because of the way I viewed myself, I had absolutely zero self-confidence. And that resulted in me barely being able to talk to people or basically not tolerating myself. So I would do things that would mask me. For example, wear baggy clothes or long sleeve shirts just to cover my skin. So to be completely honest, all throughout middle school, all throughout high school, and maybe even college too, I had zero self-esteem. Not gonna lie, it was something I've been struggling with for a long time. I'd say maybe even now. But as we all know, we went through something big called COVID. And honestly, COVID for me was a dream because I was allowed to stay home where no one was able to see me. Yeah, so unfortunately, we all had to stay home. I was tired of myself, and I had the brilliant idea one day that I wanted to change how I looked. I was tired of not having self-confidence, I was tired of having no self-esteem, and I was tired of seeing myself as someone that's inferior to others. I woke up one day and said, no more, and I did something about it. So I had a job, I saved up a whole lot of money, and I started buying gym equipment, dumbbells, a bench, and all that. And I started working out at home. And that was the start of the journey. I got so determined that I was gonna make a transformation. You know, we go back to school opens up again, and I'm a whole different person. You know, that was my goal, right? And honestly, When I started working out, that was when I started to learn the most about myself. That was when I started seeing progress, not only in my physical health, but my mental health and how I viewed myself. And then COVID regulations opened up a whole bunch of stuff, opened up gyms, and that's when I got my first gym membership. I was in the gym, I kid you not, every day, sometimes even twice a week, on top of basketball practice, on top of all these extracurricular activities. I was in the gym. But one main takeaway that I would say that I learned from starting to take care of my physical health was to learn how to love myself. Honestly, there's no point of changing yourself if you don't appreciate what you already have. I had to accept that my body was a temple given to me by Jesus Christ himself. So I had to take care of what was given to me, or else I did not deserve to be better. Because in the same time, how are you expected to take care of $200, for example, if you don't know how to manage $10? So you can't expect to better yourself if you don't know how to carry yourself better. I came to the acceptance that even though I did not like and appreciate myself, the Lord Jesus Christ appreciated me. And that's all I needed. My body is a work of art, and I needed to believe that I was for me to do better. And that's what I did. So yeah, not only was the gym a place where I can take care of my physical health, get bigger, do all this, that, but it was also my safe space. So after a few years, I started seeing some changes in myself. The way I carried myself became different. The way I respected myself became different. And I can't say it was because of all these muscles, but it all started with how I viewed myself. And my gym journey helped me with that. So yes, that's how I got into the gym, and I'm currently going. And if I'm being completely transparent, I'd be lying if I said that I still don't struggle with these things. Sometimes I have periods where I struggle with self-confidence or some body dysmorphia sometimes. I'd be thinking that I'm smaller than I actually am, or people are doing better than me. But honestly, these problems are not gonna get better if you don't address them and acknowledge them. As long as you acknowledge them, you already did step one. And that is the reason why I decided to share my story, because personally I know a lot of people that went through the same thing, so who knows if there were strangers going through the same thing. So I wanted to use my story to help motivate and inspire people going through the same thing. My story is there so that people can know that they are not alone. The problems that they've gone through, people go through them every day. So there is nothing that you may not know. So now I use my platform basically to push inspiration, motivation, and talk about real life issues that a lot of people may experience but are not talked about. So the same way I receive support and encouraging messages is the same way I want to do so for you guys. The same way I stepped out of my comfort zone is the same way I encourage you guys to do the same. So I am here to inspire you and motivate you to be better for yourself. I am here to build discipline through fitness, to help you instill confidence when you need that extra push. I want my content to make people feel heard when they may not necessarily have a voice. And I want to remind you that a lot of people go through the same struggles that you are. You are not alone. That's why we are all here. But not only that, I'm also here to give you guys a good laugh. So expect a little bit of humor stuff here and there. And essentially just push my personality, see how we can get here. And most importantly, to push Christianity. Because without the man above, all this is for nothing. So to everyone watching right now, I just want to thank you guys for helping me find my purpose. And with this going on, I promise we are all going to be better than we were yesterday. So until then, keep an eye out. But until next time, Chrisxlifts out.